Oh, we are live. Okay, we are live now. Okay, so what my first my first thing that I'm talking about, of course, is and I've seen other people do this, is of course my view on ELO, um, the ELO albums. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about. So my thoughts, my review, and you guys are welcome to join in here as well. But my thoughts here are basically there's not a bad ELO album. And I'm going to get a lot of critics say, "What do you mean by that?" There really is not a bad ELO album. There are others that are better than others, but there's nothing bad. And I'm talking about from early 1970, No Answer, all the way up to the last one from Out of Nowhere. Um, they have different styles, and I guess in the progressive rock era of the 70s, when Yes, Genesis, and all of them were around, ELO, when I first heard them, I heard them with, I remember going to a friend's place and hearing Can't Get It Out of My Head. And I said, who is that? And they said, oh, the band is called Electric Light Orchestra, ELO. And I says, where, why have I heard from them before? So that was the El Dorado album. Once I heard the El Dorado album, I was really, I love the symphonic sound of all the songs, the way they segued into each other. I love the music style in the ELO album. I loved all the different things, like the cover of the album, which was Dorothy, the Wicked Witch going after the shoes. I thought that was really, really cool. And then I'm looking at the symphonic part of the album and looking at all these great people like Lewis Clark that was on it. It was, and we know Lewis Clark later on in years. My thoughts, again, are that album was a symphony of greatness. It was amazing. It was wonderful. Then I heard, Evil Woman, Strange Magic, went to the 75. And then I've heard all the great songs on the Face the Music album. And it really was a great album. Every Halloween, I would play Fire on High. Every time I watched CBS Sports, they used to play that guitar part, that riff that Jeff came up with. That one. And I was like, oh, this is freaking awesome. And then when you hear the whole song, 7-minute long song, whatever it was amazing. So then I started diving into ELO. I said, okay, let me check some more albums out here. And this is way before Out of the Blue and way before New World Record. So I was already hooked with the first two albums. Started playing, No Answer. I loved 10538 Overture. Fell in love with that song. It was great. I love the French horns on that. Roy Wood and guys, they did a great job on there. Give credit to all the people that were on there. Jeff Lynne and, of course, Bev Bevan, the starters of ELO. And, I love the fact that ELO is not afraid to take a cover song like Roll Over Beethoven and turn it into a freaking masterpiece. The edited version was 4 minutes, and the other version, I think, was 6 or 7 minutes long, but it's a freaking endless song that just goes on and on. Now, Roll Over Beethoven was redone by the Beatles, was, of course, done by Chuck Berry, and when ELO did it, it had a whole different sound. The first fifth of Beethoven, and it was really great way they did it. That's my opinion. Take it to ELO 2, another great album. A lot of strings, Kuyama, Mama, and there was a couple different other songs on there, Boogie of Number 1, 2, and just a lot of great stuff on that album. But that's early ELO. So to like ELO, you have to start with their hits. just play their hits. To love ELO, you have to start playing all their other albums to hear how great they really are and still are at this time. So taking a step further, then I started listening to No World Record. I said, wow, this is an absolutely great album. Above the Clouds, short, tiny song, Do Ya, redone from the Move that was done with Jeff Lynne, Roy Wood, and Bev Bevan years and years ago. Turned it into another great, great rock song with a great guitar riff that Jeff came up with for Do Ya for New World Record. Telephone Line, another good song, a 50s style song. Loved that, fell in love with it. So Fine, another great song that I love on that album. New World Record, great, great song. There's so many great songs, of course, in Living Thing, one of ELO's big hits on the album. I would say if you played side A completely through, you'll play side B completely through. And once you start doing that, you realize how good a band this really was, how good that Kelly Grucut was, how good that Melvin Gale was. Melvin's a friend of mine. Mick Kaminsky's a friend of mine. You know, I talk to them every now and then, and they don't realize how good of a band they really were. You know, traveling all the time, playing great music, and then Out of the Blue came. And then I was just blown away. Because when somebody tells you that a band is really good, I used to listen to a radio station here in New Jersey and also in Philadelphia. It was called, I believe it was WYSP or WMA. I think it was YSP. And every Christmas after Out of the Blue came out in 1977, every Christmas after that, they started playing that full album. Side A, it's a double-sided album. So it's a double album. So side A and side B, and side 1 and side 2, and side 3 and side 4. And when they played that, I says, wow, this is my band. This is the band that I absolutely love everything that they do. Now, there's certain songs or certain albums that I don't like as much as others, but I still appreciate them as a band. That's the difference, I say. Out of the Blue, probably for me, was their pinnacle. Other people say, no. No, it was their pinnacle for me because I got to see them out of the Blue tour in Philadelphia at the Philadelphia Spectrum years ago. I got to see them, and they were playing with a band called Trickster, which was really great. And I thought they were absolutely amazing because they were all 7 of the original members there. And they were all great. Of course, wheeling the cellos over their head, playing the cellos, and they were all magnificent. Every one of them did a great job with what they had to do and presenting the songs and presenting the music. And I had to go buy the Out of the Blue at that time, a video VHS tape, which you can get on DVD now. And I have that one too. But Out of the Blue, the VHS tape, I played it every year. I played it all the time. Such a great, great album, VHS, to watch ELO perform live at Wembley Stadium. They were just amazing. And Tony Curtis, you know, who's of fame and fortune of the movie industry, he did the announcing in that. And that was absolutely, again, a great concert. My father never liked a lot of great music, but he loved ELO. He even told me, he says, you know, I love this band. This band is freaking amazing. He didn't like the long hair, you know, because he liked a hippie thing. He didn't like that. But the music that they created was absolutely freaking amazing. And I told him, I said, well, think about it, you know, the guy that created the Fifth of Beethoven, he had long hair. A lot of the Chopin, a lot of them, they had long hair. So that had nothing to do with it. Their music was creative geniuses. But Out of the Blue, for me, was probably the best album they have done to that point, even though all the other albums were good. That's my point. The most significant amount of singles, Sweet Talking Woman, Mr. Blue Sky, Even Sweet as the Night was a single that really net turned into a hit, but I still liked it. It was a great song. Bev Bevan is doing the harmony vocals on that, and you can hear them. And also, of course, Turn to Stone, Night in the City, which what they opened the concert with, which was another single, but not a big hit for them. Summer and Lightning, great song. Big Wheels, another great song. Jungle, Wild West Hero. There's so many songs. Starlight, which I play all the time on our station, Hamilton Radio Oldies. Love all these songs. Love all these music. Love all these albums. And I can go on and on with the album because it signifies to me how great of a band ELO, Electric Light Orchestra, really was. Jeff Lynne decided to do other things and work with Del Shannon at that point and do some things on his own, like solo records, like doing That Crazy Thing, which I didn't agree was such a great song. Or Going Down to Rio, which was another one of them like disco songs that Jeff was trying. But you got to remember, as a musician, you always try to stretch as far as you can. Maybe it'll be a hit, maybe it won't. Let's try it anyway. So 79 came. And another great album called Discovery came out. Now, Discovery was one of them albums that had 4 of them on the album. So all 4 of them, Kelly Grucott, Richard Tandy, Bev Bevan, and Jeff Lynne. Now, on the videos, most of them were on there. But on the album, only 4 of them were there. So I think Jeff Lynne layered a lot of vocals like he did on Out of the Blue, my opinion again, and just created a substance of great music on Discovery, 1979. Started with Shine a Little Love, great song. Great song. When I first heard it, I said, oh, this is great. This is a great song. It's about a guy looking in a mirror. It's about you becoming your person. And what ELO did was I liked. They said, shine a little light of ELO, which is really amazing because a lot of bands don't get to say their name in a song. And I'm like, how truly unique. And then Confusion was another great song. Need Her Love was another great song. I also liked, I forget the name of the song, but I'm trying to think of it right now. On the Run was a good song. I liked the way the chords changed in the middle of that at the end. There was tons of great songs on there. And of course, Don't Bring Me Down and a couple others I'm missing that were really good too. But that didn't end for me. See, I didn't stop liking ELO after Discovery. Some of the fans don't like certain albums. Well, if I didn't hear them albums, I would have never heard how ELO could change, how they can sound, how they can adapt to the music. I'm a big ELO fan. I've always been a big ELO fan. But that wasn't until I heard, again, Can't Get Out of My Head and the El Dorado album, 1974. So we take it to 1980. I'm in the fan club of ELO. ELO Appreciation Society fan club. I get a letter. The letter says ELO's coming up with an album and going to be on a new movie called Xanadu with Olivia Newton-John and Gene Kelly. That's the only 2 that they really promoted. Everybody else, we didn't know who was going to be on it. Well, we knew ELO was going to be involved in part of it, but we didn't know all the other bands like the Tubes. Well, that's okay. And John Farrar was the one writing songs for Olivia Newton-John on the side of Olivia Newton-John for her music. And the first song hit from that album was Magic, was on the Olivia Newton-John side. And Somewhere in Time was another hit for her on that side. John did a great job on that song. And of course, Xanadu, Jeff Lynne wrote with her, or with her in mind for the soundtrack. At first, when you heard it, you didn't really care for it. I mean, it was okay. And then, of course, Don't Walk Away, Jeff Lynne, amazing song. just it's got a 50s vibe to it, but it also has that ballad type to it. That's the animated scene in Xanadu. But the first one, I'm Alive, a good song. A really good song when I first heard it. Really good song. The Fall was on that album. And of course, the one of the big other hits on there, All Over the World. I heard that song and I'm like, this sounds like the Beach Boys. You know, a lot of people thought it was the Beach Boys, but it was Jeff Lynne and ELO. Or Jeff Lynne as a solo guy, but running with ELO. So, you know, you love all that stuff. I love all that music, all them albums I talked about. Go to 1981 and Time comes out, the album Time. Now, before Time came out, there was a little span in between. And that span was Jeff Lynne was in a video or a movie called, what's it called? It's something about violins. I forget what it's called. But he did a song called Let It Run. And that's a really good song on there. It's called Video, also on that album, which is another good song. But it's not what you think you would want to hear. It's Jeff Lynne's idea of what they wanted for the soundtrack. So I think Jeff was kind of pinned down, my opinion again, on certain songs and certain albums that he wanted to say and talk about. That's just my opinion. All right. Going into Time now, 1981. Time was another great album. As far as it started out with Twilight, it had Fred, the robot, because I went to see them in 1981, again at the Philadelphia Spectrum. I believe the person that was opening for them, I think, was Ellen Foley. Ellen Foley is, of course, from Night Court and also Meatloaf. Everybody knows her from Meatloaf. Also sang with Carla DeVito on Meatloaf. But she was really good. All I remember of that album, Time, was, you know, all the songs on it. And my favorite one was, hold on a minute, I'm trying to think of it, because I know all the songs on the album. 2095. At the end, something about the world. I can't think of the name of the song. I'm trying to think of the world song. But anyway, all the songs are on there. Even Hold On Tight was on that album. And I seen the video. I thought that was really cool, but I loved the album. Time album was absolutely great. It was really done well. Now, they had different songs that were going to be released on Time. They didn't have them released on Time. They just put them out as singles. And they were good too. There was a couple of them was really good. Building Has Eyes was really good. And I'm trying to think of all the time. When Time Stands Still, another great song. Another Jeff Lynne. I think a Jeff Lynne dedication song to John Lennon. Just a great, great song. Take Me On and On was another great song, but that was on the next album. I'm going to tell you about that. That is called Secret Messages. Secret Messages. Another cool record that was supposed to be a double album, but was only a single album. It started out with Secret Messages. Was a actually good song. Good vibe to it. Bluebird is a good song. Take Me On and On was a good song. There's a lot of great songs. Of course, Rock and Roll King is on that album. If you like Rock and Roll is King, it's a pretty good song too. It's got a 50s vibe to it because Jeff was going through a time where he was starting to tap into his earlier youth and see what he could pull out with songs that were from the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and wherever else he wanted to go. That's what Jeff Lynne thought. I'm going to think about my songs and pull them wherever I want to go. So Secret Messages was a great album. Train of Gold is on Secret Messages. Another great song. And I'm going to probably come up with a lot of the songs as we're done because I can't remember them all, but there's so many. Now, I didn't mention on Discovery, Last Train to London. Another great song, but another song about trains. So I think Jeff, in his mind, he had an idea. Let's do another train song. Train of Gold, Last Train to London. Great songs, too. With great sound effects, great bass lines, great drum breaks, and good riffs. Good harmonies, string sounds. I mean, you think about it. All right, we take it to, I believe Jeff started doing more producing for other bands like Tom Petty. He also produced for, who else did he produce for? Dave Edmunds. Information was a good song. And I think I bought that album. But Jeff also was able to come up with Balance of Power. Now, a lot of people will say Balance of Power is not ELO. Balance of Power is not a great album. Balance of Power is kind of stupid. All right, let me give you my thoughts on Balance of Power. Jeff was going through something at the time. His music, of course, nobody talks about how good of an album this really is. I mean, Sorrow About to Fall, great sax in there, great sax solo, great sound. There's an alternative version. I think there's like 2 different alternative versions to that, 2 edits. Balance of Power was a great album. I liked it. There's a lot of good songs on that album. A lot of good songs. And Jeff was going through a lot in relationships with his wife, Patty, or Sandy, and trying to hold that together. He wrote about it. And he wrote a lot about a lot of that stuff. But there were a lot of great songs on that album. Now, take it to a little bit further. We got Zombie Fever with Tom Petty. And then we got Free Fallin', which was a great song, written by Jeff Lynne and Tom Petty. And I think they were about to form the Traveling Wilburys at that point. But you go to Zoom. Here's another album that ELO fans like me, I like. I think ELO's Zoom album was a big comeback album for them, or him, to make it sound like real ELO. It's All Right was the first great song. I like that. I thought it was a good song. I love Lullaby. Lonesome Lullaby is a great song. Good guitar riff in that. A lot of the songs have great strings in it, great melodies in it. I think Zoom is probably, if not, one of their later better albums compared to the other albums I talked about. Then you take it into, When I Was a Boy that came out later on. And of course, that was after all that Traveling Wilbury stuff. Handle with Care with George Harrison and Roy Orbison and Tom Petty. And of course, Jeff Lynne, Bob Dylan. Great bunch of guys, great music makers that only knew music, knew how to create it out of anything. After that, Jeff Lynne came up with another From Out of Nowhere. Now, From Out of Nowhere to me, for me as a fan, it's great because it's ELO. But it's not one of his best parts. It's not one of his best albums. Like I said, there's no ELO album that I don't like. There's other ELO albums I like more than others. Okay? But it doesn't mean that I don't like them. I may not play them a lot. I may not listen to them a lot, but I still will give them a nod. Because like everything in the future and in the past, you either like it or you don't. And you don't have to like all the ELO albums. You don't have to like all the ELO songs. You don't have to like Jeff Lynne and all the guys in the band. But you cannot dismiss the music premise that they had all these years. That's my thoughts. So I'll talk to you guys later. Don't forget, if you want to hear any ELO songs, and we've been told this many, many times, we're a big ELO station at Hamilton Radio. In fact, in the early 90s, I think we were one of the only radio stations playing ELO at that time compared to everybody else. Oh, yeah, you can play the hits, but we play more than the hits. From the End of the World, all these songs, we play them. The Bouncer, that's another song I wanted to talk about. We play the songs that make a difference. We play the songs that you may not hear all the time. We play the rare songs. We play the edited songs. We play the live albums. We play live concerts. We go the extra mile for our listeners and our fans. That's what Hamilton Radio Oldies does, Hamilton Radio itself. So we're hamiltonradio.net, right? You can request right on the website, or you can find us on iHeartRadio under Hamilton Radio Oldies. iHeartRadio, Hamilton Radio Oldies, look for us. We're on Alexa and Google devices under Hamilton Radio Oldies. Ask for us by name. We're on Odyssey Network. We're on everywhere I put us in the early 90s. We beat all the other radio stations in New York. We beat all the FM radio stations in New York and all the FM radio stations in Philadelphia. Twice. Now, if that doesn't mean anything to you, it means a hell of a lot to me. It's why we've been together for 28 years and why we keep on playing the greatest music you'll never hear anywhere else. Not even on YouTube. Why? Because we can. I want to bid you all a good night. This is my thoughts on ELO albums. I hope you will check them out. I hope you request them. And request them everywhere else. Don't request them just on my station. Request them everywhere else. Get ELO played. Jeff Lynne is truly a genius. No matter what you say, he knows how to rock. He knows how to make some great music. And if there's any songs that you want to hear that we do play, and we play mostly all of them, just reach out to me. All right? I'm at admin, ADMIN, admin. I'm going to put it up here so you guys got it. I'm at admin at hamiltonradio.net so you guys can check it out. Let me find it for you. Here we go. Admin at hamiltonradio.net. Request your song today. Let me play your music today and be amazed. Be amazed of the truly amazing music that Jeff Lynne, Bev Bevan, Richard Tandy, Kelly Grucut, Melvin Gale, Hugh McDowell, and all the ones before them. The truly amount of great music they made over the years. And I will just add this to you, say this too. I talked to David Payton. And David Payton was with the band Pilot. And he also wrote some songs with Richard Tandy. They had a great band. So Richard did a lot of great stuff on his own. And poor Richard passed away. There are only a few guys left. But still in together. A great band that put some great music for us together for years. If you don't let your kids listen to them, you never have to worry about the sounds. You never have to worry about the music, type of music it is. And they never really cursed. So enjoy ELO today and enjoy them on my station because we truly appreciate ELO. Have a great day, guys. I love you all. Bye-bye.